Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Prophetic News Hour. Today is on the calendar April 14th, the year's 2025, and we're just going to get going on a story that all of us will recognize, and it will resonate with every one of us practically, no matter our diet preferences, vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, paleo, whatever the case may be. This rise in prices affects all of us. And particularly today, I want to focus on what's in the news, particularly in the news around the world about the cost of eggs in the United States of America and the dwindled supply chain of eggs, domestically laid and supplied eggs within the contiguous United States of America. This matters because this speaks to what's happening in our food supply chain. And on the previous posting, I talked about the very clear and obvious military tactic of attacking a nation's or a quote-unquote enemy's basic supply and provision needs as a way to control the population and weaken the population. We enter into our grocery stores now, and 1 dozen eggs, if we are in a place and are blessed to have them available to us, cost as much as $5, or as little, I should say, as $5. I've seen some brands, the free range and organic, brown, large, the ones that I typically prefer, as much as $8 or $9 for 1 dozen. At the same time, farmers in places like Germany and Denmark are being asked to increase their production of eggs so that those eggs may be shipped to the United States of America. Because somehow or another, so many of our chicken farmers and hen farmers and egg layers have been impacted by avian and bird flu that we no longer as a nation are being allowed to supply ourselves with things as basic and as simple as eggs. Why this matters to all of us outside of the obvious cost, increased cost, is the pattern. And not just the pattern, but the steps that are being taken again to disconnect us from our supply of basic necessities. There are communities now, places where people are being told that they may no longer have their own chickens or hens in their backyards. Mennonite and Amish farmers were overregulated and targeted, some of them threatened with jail, many of them having had their production farms inspected unto destruction by the FDA from the previous administration, the Biden-Harris administration, and so they have not recovered. And all of this speaks to the attack on the freedoms of the populace, not just here in America, but this has been happening around the world. We as a people, an individual people, have to recognize the signs. The signs are yelling and screaming at us, but so many of us are either too busy, maybe with important things, raising a family, jobs and careers, health, all of those things are important, that we have allowed councils and assigned bodies of people who are not voted in by people, by the populace, community groups, oversight groups, advisory boards, we are allowing those special interest groups and special interest designees to impact every aspect of our lives, including the attack on our food supply. For fear or concern or even monetary gain, as they advance the cause of the Green New Deal under different names, but with the same goal: completely eradicating the use of carbon and diminishing carbon emissions, completely eradicating methane gas, and all of those things. I say it with almost this sense of it just being so unreasonably inconsistent with what is true and accurate that it's unbelievable. I had a very wise man years ago say to me, and this was a man whose family raised cattle, raised chicken and hens, had a very robust business with selling eggs. And he said, I never really saw and heard the cows gassing up very much methane, but it certainly is an issue with the horses. And all of those things are connected, interrelated. Because again, if there are powers that would rather the American people, the Australian people, the Polish people become completely dependent upon a system of government and control, rather than being able to take care of ourselves by the work of our own hand, tilling our own land, producing our own eggs. If there are those powers in play, their ultimate goal is for us to be so desperate for what they hand feed to us and allow to be shipped to or released to us or grown in a lab and genetically modified and handed out to us, that we will acquiesce to any of their demands. I'll put some links in the information section for this posting, and the links will include 2 articles, one from Germany and one from Denmark, regarding the plea from the United States that those nations' farmers, egg farmers, would increase their shipments to the United States. Just think about that. Eggs shipped thousands of miles. Oh, how fresh and tasty and unmodified they will be. Please get involved. Stay aware. If you are in a place where you are able now to begin to prepare to sustain your family and your neighbors, it's incredibly important that you do so. You begin to do so. Take the small steps now. If you are in a place or a community, a city, a town, a village, where there are advisory boards who have for many decades now been very, I say hell, H-E-L-L, bent on advancing the beliefs of the Green New Deal and the World Health Organization as it relates to sustainable farming and genetically modifying foods and protecting the earth from anything that farming and animals may produce and do produce in methane gases and waste. You must get involved now. Volunteer to serve on those advisory boards. Yes, it's unpaid. Yes, I can tell you from personal experience, it can be very uncomfortable. Yes, it can sometimes seem like you are throwing a rock into the proverbial ocean. But if enough of us do that, and we are consistent in doing so, we may stem and turn back the tide for our community, the places where we are established, so that we are then able to be suppliers and build networks of supplies that will supersede anything that the system is trying to do to control our food supply and systems. Stay aware. If you've not been engaged in learning this, just find the thing that's important to you. If it's food and the health and quality and the source of your food, become knowledgeable about it. If it's transportation, energy, having access to our own energy resources, become knowledgeable about it. If it's the importance of ensuring that families, biological mothers and fathers, nuclear families remain intact without the government saying that our children, your children, are property of the state and therefore controlled by the state, become aware, learn about, and get engaged in that area. But in some place, get engaged. Long gone, never has there been, I should say, any time where it was okay for us to not be fully engaged in our community, in our state, in what's happening in our nation, and therefore how we are impacting the world and how the world is impacting us. There has never been a time where that's been a good thing. But more than ever, it's time to get involved, and it's time to find your place where you will be and can be one of the ones who work together across networks, across community, across boundaries to build a sustainable system of community. We'll talk soon. I look forward to sharing the next prophetic news message tomorrow. We'll talk soon.